Hey, welcome back to my channel, Crafting with Cami. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you decided to stop by. Today, I will be creating a single page scrapbook layout for you. This will be a process video. The photos I am documenting are of a bike ride my husband and I went on. So, documenting our motorcycle adventure. And I only have the 4 pictures. These 2 I printed with the white border going around. And then these 2, this one's an odd shape. I didn't want to crop it too much. It's actually 4 by 4 3/4-ish. So this one I will mat with white cardstock then. And then this one, I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep it the full 4x6, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to crop this one down to maybe a 4x4 and do a square, because I could crop a little off the bottom and top. So I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to do that, but these are the 4 photos I'll be documenting today, and I should be able to fit them on a single page layout. I'm not exactly sure what I want to use for this layout yet, except for 2 things actually. So I want to bring in these cloud papers, and this is from the Gnomes for Spring collection. I could stretch it onto a second page. I do have, these are just scraps. The other side is this nice summery spring plaid. So I for sure want to bring in the clouds. And like I said, these are just scraps. I didn't cut them to go for this layout yet. The other item I am using is the Born to Ride. So I have already stamped this along with the Live to Ride. I have not cut it out yet. And then I stamped the motorcycle. This one looks more like my husband's, I think, than this one does. So I stamped this one. And I've colored one of them, and I'm not sure that I love how it's colored. If you can see, the lines aren't very defined in this stamp, so it's hard to see what goes to what. I actually think this should have been more of that gray tone, and I could go over that with that. So I have another one stamped. I might play around with this one a little bit more, see if I can't get my lines down, and then go over to this one. But if you can see, it's very detailed. Like, you can see the engine and everything, but it's not very defined. Like, the lines aren't complete everywhere. So it makes it a little confusing to color, but I am going to touch that up, and then I might use both of these on the layout. Sometimes it's nice to repeat. I love this tread mark here, so we might bring that in. That's kind of what I'm thinking with the embellishments so far. I'm going to need to bring in some more things, but let's go ahead and finish coloring these motorcycles and get them cut out. Along with the banner, we'll get that cut as well. The colors I'm using, I am using my tri-blend markers. This one's not a tri-blend. This one's just 2 different points. So it has that fine point and then that chisel point. So this is black. And then I have the ice gray blend. And with the tri-blend markers, it has your light, medium, and dark. So you can really get in the shading. But I'm not focused so much on the shading of this, but I'm going to bring in the 3 different colors to add definition so it doesn't look like just one color. And then this is the brown gray blend. So over here where I made that mistake, I'm going to come in with the dark, and I'm just going to hit, I like the black for the tires and for the seat, but I feel like it's random. I think it needs more black somewhere. Maybe if I bring in black like under that, what is that, the muffler? You guys, I don't know my motorcycles or anything, so don't judge me. What if I go kind of like that and define it? Maybe connect my line. Okay, and then what if we bring in, what if we highlight like this in black? I'm going very lightly. I don't want to push too hard because it will bleed outside of the line. And these are very fine lines, whereas this is a little too wide for it. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there before I add too much black and make it too dark in there. I could maybe these little, they almost look like buttons. I don't know what they are. They're probably supposed to be like the bolts that hold it on. There, I think that adds a little more detail and dimension in there, and it kind of evens out that black because it was just tire, you know. And so now by adding that extra black inside there, I think it makes the black look a little more intentional. Let's start on this one now. So if you look back at my pictures, and it does not need to be exact, but my husband painted his motorcycle like a black, gray. It's actually glow in the dark paint. Fun fact, it's really cool. So, yeah, so I wanted to kind of keep it darker. Obviously, I'm not going to try to copy it exact, but I don't really want like a blue bike or anything like that. I want it to stay kind of those neutrals, which makes it a little more difficult since I feel like these need to be more neutral. So I'm going to go in with the Ice Gray Dark Blend, and I'll go over this. And again, I'm not focused on the shading. I just want to use the different tones so that each item looks different. I love how detailed this motorcycle is, but it makes it very difficult to color. You could just leave it black and white when you stamp it, or stamp it on a colored paper or pattern paper or something. Let's do that black since we know where we want that. So I did the handlebars, or not the bars, but you know what I mean. The seat. This little thing. And the headlight. Come back in with that dark. Gotta do this the same color. And on this one, I actually mixed some of the ice gray and brown gray to go over this part of it. And then down here, we'll use the light. But I'm going to call that good. So these do come with the thin cuts. I'd like to use that tread mark too that comes with this, that stamp. So I'll cut out the banner and the motorcycle, and I will be right back. I got the Live to Ride and the motorcycles die cut. So as I had mentioned, these are scraps with the clouds, and I really wanted to bring in that cloud. It was a nice spring day, so really wanted to bring in the clouds somehow. So this one was just a scrap. I obviously gutted it. It should be 10 by 10, I believe. Oh, 9.5 by 9.5. So I had gutted around it. And I do a lot of like frame style layouts. So I'm wanting to do something a little different, maybe scoot that over and then have, you know, another piece of paper over on one of the sides. So on the reverse side of this is kind of this nice plaid, but I kind of want it to go maybe top to bottom. also try, oh, I kind of like that. Let's see what our pictures are going to look like. This one I had thought about cutting down, but I could do, I don't want to hide too much of the cloud paper either. Maybe I will cut this one down to a square. So these two are going to be kind of odd shapes. I may even be able to cut this one down too. Let me do some cutting and I'll be back. I cut these two down a little bit. This one is a square. This one's still more of a rectangle. I didn't want to cut off all of the sky. Since we had some cloud paper and everything in there, I wanted to keep some of the blue. So I had this laid out something like this, and all of the motorcycle, all of the pictures are going this way. And to me, this feels like a stop. So I think I might want to move this over here. And then these motorcycles are going that direction, so I think I would want them put on this side to kind of draw your eye over. I still have this Live to Ride. And then I have another motorcycle, which could kind of go like that. I also wanted to bring in that, you know, tire mark. I don't know, this almost seems too bright. As I was going through my papers, I found this one that is also clouds. This is part of the mixing collection, Close to My Heart's mixing collection from March through April. And this is actually Seabrook, I believe. Whereas this one's a brighter blue. This one looks more like, let me see if I can find those coordinating colors. This one might be Glacier. So it's a more blue. This one's a Seabrook, more green. And this one actually matches my husband's shirt. So originally I thought this one would look good with our blue sky. But I'm wondering if this one will look better with my husband's shirt. Maybe it's easier to see his shirt color in this one. So let's maybe bring this one in instead. And I'm still not sure what I want to do with it. I know I need some other papers along with it. I brought in this zip strip, which is part of the Gnomes for Spring. I thought maybe bringing in some brown because I want to use this tire track. So this should be Toffee. Acorn. This is Acorn. I don't have Acorn ink, but I do have Toffee ink, so I'll probably stamp this in Toffee and it'll coordinate. But I need some other pattern papers, maybe some more Toffee or Acorn, and then I have the grays for the motorcycle, so maybe I should bring in some grays. I do kind of like that. It brings in some more grays for the motorcycle. I am wearing gray. I might even be able to matte this on charcoal. So here's charcoal. This one and this one. So we'll matte this. I'll cut this down to 9 1/4 so that we have room for a little bit of a border on this one. Okay, so this is 9 1/4. And then I cut this 9 1/2. So there will be just a slight little border around in charcoal. But I don't want to waste the inside of the charcoal. I like to save every piece of paper I can. I don't want to run out of Close to My Heart paper sooner than I have to. So if we cut this, so there's just like 1/8 of an inch that's going to be showing. If I cut this at about 1/2 inch, I should have plenty of room for adhesive. So we'll just leave. Maybe I should do 3/4 of an inch just to be sure. So then right about there. It doesn't seem like much when you go to cut, but look at all of this that we'll be able to use on another project or for our embellishments. Then I'm not grabbing a whole nother 12 by 12 piece of paper for our embellishments. I can use this. Okay, so we can get this tacked down to here. And then this, which I might want to cut off some of that white. We'll see how that ends up looking. Right about there. And then bring this one in. Or bring this up top. I haven't done anything like this before. Bring this down here. That's kind of fun. And then have this be our transition piece. I don't like how this motorcycle is driving the wrong way. Maybe I should have flipped my photos. In editor, I could flip it, you know, so that it looks like the motorcycle is going this direction, but I didn't think of that when I printed these. So now this motorcycle is going this way, this motorcycle is going that way. We could just have them kind of lined up down here. I think I'm going to need more embellishments too. I have some different, well, this one has pink in it. I don't want to bring in any pink. But I do have different sprigs that I could kind of create clusters with. And then have the motorcycle sitting like in the cluster. So I don't need to have like just a motorcycle. I could add like a big cluster with it and just incorporate that motorcycle. I've laid out a few more embellishments and titles. So I felt like this was just a little too white. I don't know, I might still bring it in. But this stamp from the Skylark, it's the Skylark stamp set, Live in the Moment. I thought that would look good, stamped right up here in the clouds, Live in the Moment. And then I want to bring in this tire track, so I thought maybe right down here in this is acorn, so this will be toffee. Again, I don't have acorn ink, but they're similar. And then on some of my other stamp sets, so this is the Remember the Moment, and this one says You and Me. And then on the Wild and Free stamp set, there's this Wild and Free. So then I thought, You and Me, Wild and Free. And I brought out my tags because when in doubt, bring out the tags. When you don't know what to do, just grab the tags. I don't know. So I thought maybe I could bring those up here and then maybe do the You and Me, Wild and Free somewhere on the tags. And then this one is also from the Remember This Moment. And this one says, Life is a Beautiful Ride. Well, how perfect is that? So maybe that could go like under one of my pictures or over here by this little motorcycle. Maybe I could even bring another motorcycle up into this cluster. I grabbed a lot of, this is the Sprigs and Leaves slimline. So it cuts out each of these sprigs. And I thought maybe I could tuck those around in my clusters, bring out some more of the greens. The grass is starting to turn green in these pictures. This is Seabrook, so maybe I could bring out some Seabrook in those sprigs. I don't know what color I want to do the tags. Do I want to do one in Seabrook and one in charcoal to bring charcoal up into this? This one is super light. Maybe I could even bring in some mink or something. So I'm gonna cut a couple tags out. I do like this kind of layout. I think this is working. So I may as well get these adhered so those stop moving on me. I'll get some tags cut. This one I put upside down because I don't know that I want to bring in the curves. I think I'm going to cut more out of this one, multiples out of this cut, this thing cut. So I'll cut a few different colors, kind of go off of my pictures, go off of these colors. I'll cut a few tags and then we can kind of play around with which color we like best. And I'll get these adhered because I am liking that. And this isn't centered. This is at about 11.5 up here. So that gives me more room down here to play with this tread mark. Is that even what that's called? Is this a tread mark or is this a tire track? I don't know what that is, but I like it. So, game plan. We're getting somewhere. I die cut jade, Seabrook, mink, charcoal, and toffee tags. I did the jade because of the grass in my pictures. I thought the jade went nicely with that. The Seabrook goes nicely with my husband's shirt. So I'm wondering if I want to bring in more jade embellishments. I still have my sprigs and leaves thin cuts that I can use. So let's lay these back out. And I had them down here somewhat. Okay, and then what if I do something like that? But this is Seabrook on Seabrook, so maybe more like that. I could even do like one straight, one off to the side. I could bring in some of my brown twine to finish those off. This chipboard banner is from my stash, and I'm going to stamp the Life is a Beautiful Ride across that. Here's my toffee. Here's my charcoal. Let's do this one in toffee, because I have those two that I could do in charcoal, and then my Live in the Moment is going to be in charcoal. So let's bring in some more of that toffee. And I'm going to give it a little extra time to soak in. I love how beautiful is a different font than Life is a. Look at that. It fits perfect. And now I can just move this around on my layout to find the perfect spot. Okay, we know we want the Live in the Moment in charcoal. I flipped my Versamat over so I have this foam back, which makes your stamping impressions much better. And I am going to put that right about there. I'm bringing in another piece of scrap paper. And I'm going to bring this down a little bit more so I can see what I'm doing. Just going to go directly to. The nice thing about this stamp is it's meant to look a little distressed. It's not going to be a completely crisp image. So if my ink doesn't hit a spot or something like that, it's nice that it's supposed to look a little distressed. Nobody will even notice if it's my hair. Let's give that a test here. It's always scary going directly onto your page. I could also do black, but I used charcoal here, and with this being such a light tone, I think charcoal would just be the best option. That came out perfect. See how it's supposed to look distressed? It's not supposed to be completely filled in. That's gonna look so good up there. Okay, so now let's make sure we get it good and inky again. Let me know in the comments, do you guys struggle with like colorful papers, but bringing in that masculine touch. Like motorcycling, that's my husband's thing, you know, like I wanted it to be more masculine, but I wanted it to look like spring, summer. The weather was beautiful when we went, so it's like I wanted to bring in that aspect of it, but I don't want it to look too feminine and colorful, and I wanted to bring in some of the motorcycles, and I didn't want to color my motorcycles with the lighter colors. So I'm really struggling with this layout, but I think it's coming together now that we've started including some of our embellishments. All right, let's make sure this is perfectly straight. And we want to give it plenty of time to soak into the paper. Yes, that looks good. I'm just going to bring my photos back in, and then we'll start playing with embellishments. So I have a couple tags that I'm auditioning up top here. And then I'm also considering bringing in another tab above those 2 3x4s. And then have this, you know, be jade. I think that might be too many tabs up there. What if I did a circle in jade? Let's grab a circle. Here's my circles. What if I did like a jade circle down here? I'm going to cut out my sprigs and leaves, and I'm going to do that in Seabrook and jade and see which colors I like. I cut out, first of all, some sprigs. So that's Seabrook. We got some this is jade. And I can always cut more, but this is what I got so far. And then I also cut out some circles. So I was thinking maybe a jade circle. That's too much jade. So then I'm wondering if Seabrook would be better up here. And jade down here. Maybe over there. Create a little cluster. I have a Seabrook circle. Could kind of do a cluster down here. Maybe bring this back to jade. Top. That just kind of gets lost, but I could outline it in, let's just do that now, because if I'm going to use this, I don't want it to get lost. So let's just add a little charcoal to the sides. That already gives it a little more something. Okay, so then if I do, we could bring in Life's a Beautiful Ride down here. That kind of brings the charcoal all around. We could even have this kind of down here more. I'm adding a few of those sprigs down to this bottom left cluster. I'm just adding them right behind that circle. I know for sure that I want to use this brown twine up here. That would bring in more toffee so this isn't so random. I'm wondering if we need some toffee over in this area as well. But let's go ahead and add this twine so that I know what we're playing with. I might be ready to adhere these tags down too, but we'll see. I like to cut a piece, fold it in half, and then stick the loop through my hole first. So that comes out the back, and then I pull the ends up and through the loop. And then just pull that tight. And then I'm thinking we'll fray those out, add a little more texture. I do love this picture of my husband. So what if I framed him in toffee and just, that's my focal photo. I added this photo. But now I've removed the 2 3x4 photos. I thought about bringing in a flip flap and doing my journaling and having 3 photos then. But then after I completely removed them, I don't hate how this is looking. I brought in some jade to mat this photo on. I want, if I were to move this over, this isn't centered now, and that's bothering me. So if I put this all the way to the edge, that kind of centers the title over this photo. And then I can bring this one over to touch that. And then I can have my tabs up top to hold the You and Me Wild and Free. I still have this circle, and I liked the jade leaves behind that, and that kind of holds my motorcycle. I also considered maybe I should bring this over here and have it kind of overlap this corner. And we have 2 circles next to each other. I almost feel like we need another circle up top then, since there's 1, 2, 3 circles. That almost reaches across that circle. Could do, oh man, it's so close. Maybe if I do the wider part, I think I can make the Wild and Free fit across that circle. And the Wild and Free is longer, so that needs to go right in the center. I stamped the You and Me Wild and Free in toffee on the jade circle, but it almost gets lost. It doesn't stand out from the paper as much as I wanted. I'm just playing around with a few more of the sprigs, adding them to that cluster, and then I have this tag left. So what if we added that down to that bottom right side and brought that toffee over? So I'm just cutting that down so I don't have to stick it so far under my photo. And I'm just thinking of adding it right about here. All right, I'm trying something different. I recut this circle into a bigger circle. I'm going to stamp it with my white daisy, and then we are embossing it with white embossing powder. And this one you really lightly want to push. You don't want to get, it's very pigmented. I'm going to add my embossing powder. Super tiny paintbrush that I can just flick that off. You don't want any of it left on there. It will adhere to the paper. You want to let your heat gun heat up a little bit before you bring it to your paper. And then I like to start on the back. I think this needs a little distressing maybe. Let's bring in my sandpaper. And I'm gonna move this out of the way. This was heat embossed. Got all of these adhered. I got this stamped. I used my little piercing tool and separated my twine. I have these little dots from Close to My Heart that go with the Seabrook. So I'm going to add some of these around. And I think I'm going to use this medium one down here. here's how the finished layout turned out. So I did not end up using these two photos. I may end up doing a companion page, so stay tuned to that. I may end up adding these onto a companion page. I do still have a little bit of this cloud paper and this mix-in, so I could bring those elements over to this page. So I may be doing that in a future video, but this is what I came up with. So I added a few of those enamel dots just in the teal that kind of match that Seabrook. I popped up this Life is a Beautiful Ride. I added some twine to my two tags. I did some sanding on this one and this one. I did some heat embossing on this. I stamped this title directly onto my layout. This layout was definitely a struggle, but I think it turned out. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think I was able to make the light colors work with some more masculine colors? If you enjoyed seeing this process, please give this video a thumbs up. If you're enjoying my content, I would love for you to become a subscriber and join my little community here on YouTube. Don't forget to leave me a comment below. What do you think of this layout? Was it worth the struggle? Well, until next time, live a life worth scrapping. Bye, guys.